to Ask the Bookkeeper. That's right, we've rebranded ourselves for one day and one day only, and we're here at the ICB Bookkeeper Summit 2024 for another podcast pit stop. And this time round, we've got another very important guest to have a talk about. I think this is going to be a different one because it's a new business, new launch, new everything else. It's got a lot of newness to it. Let's go for this. So please, if you can introduce yourself, explain to the world who you are, why you're here, and what your business does. Go for it.
Absolutely. Thanks, Aaron. Looking forward to this. So my name is Oliver Crofton. I'm the co-founder and managing director of a company called Maisie. I spent 15 years of my career in e-crime and digital forensics. And at the beginning of last year, I had seen too many businesses fail and be disrupted by fraud. So we launched Maisie to support accountants and bookkeepers in improving the fight against fraud and getting on the front foot to be proactive for their clients to stop fraud from happening.
I love that. Okay. So let's go talking about this to begin with, and then we'll go for our normal set of questions. So if you are looking to help us accountants, because it is one of the things that keeps us awake at night, we are, nervous that we're going to fall foul of it. We're nervous that we're, there's jail time, and all that sort of stuff that we can be thrown at us. Doesn't matter how kind of much you push the problems at us. What can you actually do to help us? Is it education or is it software? Is it a bit of both? What is it that you think is going to be the magic touch to go, actually, we can never completely forget about it, but at least we can have some, we can sleep at night over.
Yeah, sure. The short answer is, sadly, there's no silver bullet. So I'm not sat here today saying our platform stops all fraud. You can sleep well at night. Yet. But if you take a step back, right, fraud for affecting small to medium-sized businesses now is rising dramatically. There's been a 24% increase since 2022, right? And we are here. There's loads of fabulous vendors talking about AI in bookkeeping, loads of new technology coming in. But that is not just the proviso of bookkeepers. Fraudsters have access to AI. Fraudsters have access to all the tools that you're seeing emerging to make your lives easier. There are now tools making fraudsters' lives easier. I'll give you a great example. I've just been playing with a platform called ChatGPT, as you know. But this new platform called Fraud GPT. And Fraud GPT lets you create fake invoices, fake websites. It tells you who in a company to target to get an invoice paid. So fraudsters are tooled up as accountants and bookkeepers are now.
I love that. Okay. So your platform then, you've got your platform together and you've kind of one of our biggest problems as accountants, bookkeepers, I'm sure you've heard this pain point a lot of times, is we love the idea of these platforms. And if it was up to us, we'd sign up to all of these platforms in this room, right? But our biggest problem is we can't keep replicating databases. We can't keep having different platforms. Everything else. How are you going to help us tackle that? What's your methodology to? Because that's the pain. If you can make it integrate, give us an easy way in, or whatever the solution is, if you can make that less hoops for us to jump through, we're ready to talk to you, right?
Yeah.
How are you looking to tackle that?
Yeah, spending so long in security, I know that users can be troubled by new passwords, new ways of working. And actually, when you put a security tool in place that interrupts their daily workflow, they'll just bypass it anyway. So we were well aware of that when we built Maisie. And so we've designed it to be a burglar alarm system.
Amazing.
It plugs directly into your cloud accounting software. It pulls the data. And apart from some flashy reports, which you can log into and pull reports for your monthly client meetings around your client's fraud resilience, we actually just send alerts when you need to know.
Love that.
So when there's a dodgy supplier, a dodgy customer, an invoice that's been duplicated or faked, dodgy bank details, an unusual reconciliation pattern, all that kind of stuff, we push it out to you. We don't expect you to log in on a regular basis.
Music to my ears. Okay, so with that in mind, how are you thinking about the accountants passing this on to the clients? Do you expect them to almost create a new service line? Do you expect them to bring it in part of their normal work? Realistically, we should be doing this, right? That's part and parcel of due diligence. But is there an education piece that actually this doesn't have to be you have to absorb the cost or anything like that? This could be something you add as an extra. Is there any kind of conversation with that with accountants and bookkeepers?
Yeah, first and foremost, working with accountants and bookkeepers, we are aligned with our objective to improve the business health of the end client.
Yeah.
Okay. And sadly, when it comes to fraud, the end client can be, it's not high on their agenda, right? You speak to a small business owner, you say, are you worried about fraud? He's going to say, no, I've got a team of 10 people. I check all my invoices and I know everybody that works for me and I trust everybody. But that trust is subjective, right? That's built on relationships over time. Whereas as professional advisors, we are in a privileged position to be objective and to implement systems that truly support the business health of their clients. And so education around fraud, how rife it is, not just the big stuff that you hear around £1 million frauds happening, taking business down. I'm talking about the £50 invoice here, the ghost employee, the fake expense claim. That stuff, it really hits the bottom line of businesses. So when we work with our partners, it's twofold really. One of them, it'll be implemented as an added value. So we're low cost with great value, Aaron, as you well know. We're implemented as a value add to clients, and the firm absorbs the cost. Or actually, and my preferred option is to add it as a small uplift in their monthly fee. Right, and I know it's difficult to get buy-in from some clients, but actually, you're talking two or three quid a month to cover the license fee. And that really focuses the mind of the client, that they will check the reports, even if the monthly report says everything is green, there's no high risk fraud alerts here. It just gets on their radar, and we're talking about fraud.
I love that, and I love the fact it's not just a platform at that point. It's education. It's working with them, and as bookkeepers, accountants will know, we need educating stuff like this. It's it's a whole new world for us, and it shouldn't be, but it is for our good. Okay, so I love that. Final question before I move on to the normal Pitstop ones. You've got the education there, you kind of put it through and everything else, but what's your end goal? Where do you see this platform going forward? Because I assume you're very new to you've only been going 8 months before, yeah? So clearly this is the start of it. Where do you want this platform to go? What's your kind of end goals? And talk me through like a roadmap almost of what you want it to be like.
Yeah, I mean, and that's a really good question. Look, I think our core mission is to stop fraud for SMEs, right? To make them as resilient to fraud as some of the bigger businesses are that have full-scale fraud teams and governance teams. But for an SME to implement and make that expenditure is impossible. So if we're looking at how can we actually stop fraud, right? So we are working at a point in the moment with cloud accounting software, so the likes of Xero and QuickBooks, right? We want to expand that to maybe look at additional tools that are used by these SME firms that carry important data that would give an indication that a fraud has happened. So our ideal around moving into maybe CRM systems, or just that commercial data that gives us the fingerprint of something is not right and there's some wrongdoing that's happening. But that's further down the line. At the moment, we're very much focused on working at the heart of the business with accountants and bookkeepers to support their clients.
Love that. And feel free to say, no, it's not possible. But is there any future where bank fraud or anything like that can be detected beforehand? Or should we be pushing and just expectation that the bank should be sorting that going forward? Because even in our industry, we've had members of our profession that's had fraudulent gone through the bank, and it's disruptive to businesses, right? Like that's the worst, well, maybe not the worst ever, but that's the most disruptive element of fraud, isn't it? It's when the bank's cleared out or closed down or interrupted. And is there any way that you could kind of help with them, like maybe see some early warning signs or anything like that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, fraud is a nuanced and complex process, right? So looking at early warning signs is really vital. And it's amazing what data is in an cloud accounting software that's, if looked at in the right way and analyzed with the right software, can identify patterns that you wouldn't necessarily see. And it can look at pay requests. You can look at your payments process and identify the risk really early on. And that's how we support businesses. That we're never going to eradicate fraud. It's impossible. But we can certainly reduce the likelihood of falling victim.
I love that. Okay, brilliant. Right, let's go through some of our Pitstop Podcast questions. So first of all, what's your impression of this event? I mean, how many of these accounting events and everything else you've been to in the past? What do you think to the ICB one? Go for it.
So we fully launched about just over a year ago. So we've done almost every event there is under the sun recently. This is great. I think this event is fantastic. It feels like everyone's friends. Is that the right thing to say? It's a very personal event where people have history with each other, obviously. And as newbies, we've been welcomed in really well. I think the vendors and the attendees and the speakers are all aligned with their support of the industry. And that's what really shines through for me today.
I love that. And what's your highlight so far of this event?
Speaking with you, Aaron, obviously, is my absolute highlight today. And it's good coffee as well.
Now, these sort of events, aren't they? They're just like you've already said, they're about the community, they're about the people. So I absolutely love it. And thank you so much for giving us your time. So an event like this, you're going to be wandering around. It's a little bit quieter now, which is actually nice. But normally this is a very loud, very busy, people talking to one another. There's all this sort of stuff going on. Whenever you go to an event like this, either this industry or any other industry, how do you take action from it? Because at the end of the day, if you're coming as a vendor, you've got to give up time. You know, there's an investment to come into the event in the first place. If you're coming as just a delegate even, like, you're still having to give up time and give up time in your practice, and you've got to justify that time, right? Justify it. So how would you, an event like this, how would you take action from it? What's your top tips for anyone, especially for someone who maybe never gone to an event before?
From an attendee's perspective or from an exhibitor's perspective?
Let's go exhibitors from your point of view. Go for it.
Yeah, exhibiting at events, I think it's important to have expectations that you are there to educate people about your offering, right?
Yeah.
If your anticipation is to walk away with an order list, I think you're going to fail, right?
Yeah.
These events are really critical in discussing the problem that your service or product is solving. And that's really the ultimate goal of these things. Anything further, you know, obviously you want to have talk to people that are interested and have follow-up discussions. You shouldn't be looking to convert or to get new businesses signed up at these things straight away. This is about talking about the problem you're solving as a vendor and getting feedback from your customer base or client base around what they think about that problem too, to ensure your development roadmap aligns with what they actually need.
And I feel like we, as an accounting industry, we're very passionate about giving our feedback. So, you know, we're more than happy to tell you if your product's working or not working. And I think more the vendors need to listen to that, right? Like that's where the heart and soul of these events, aren't they, to understand it?
It's absolutely vital, and there's no better way than doing it face to face. And I think it's important that vendors listen to people more than anything to ensure they shape the software to actually what their users require.
100%. Okay, so seems like you've chosen this industry for a reason. There's a reason you've gone for this particular industry, but what do you love about this industry?
I mean, you touched on it a minute ago. I think there is a passion within the sector to embrace innovation, to look at technology and work collaboratively for the benefit of the end customer, of the end client. And I think that really shines through for us. When we launched Maisie, we looked at selling directly to small businesses, but actually that process, as I mentioned, for various different reasons, is a very difficult thing to do. But working with trusted advisors that have the best interests of their clients at heart, that want to get on the front foot around fraud prevention, is a much more of a collaborative space for us. And we can add value to the accountant or the bookkeeper and add value to the end client.
100%.
And I think that common goal of doing the best by the client is what really resonates for us and what we really enjoy working with the industry.
And I think you've come at the right time for that, because if you'd have come 5 years ago, it was just compliance. That's all we cared about. Like, how do we get compliance off the shelf? And you touched on the fact that AI is there for good and everything else. And we've had to rethink what is our role, and it is now being a trusted advisor. So we're going to have to lean on fraud prevention. We're going to have to lean on all those other aspects of it to stay relevant, right? And add value to our solutions to clients. So the more trusted solutions like yours that we have there, the more opportunities we are to keep ourselves relevant, right? And I think you've come at the right time for us we're having those conversations. We're trying to build our benefit now. And I think for me, that's why it's an exciting time. That's why you love the industry. But what would you change about this industry? What have you found so far that's frustrating you? Maybe you've been losing sleep over at the moment.
I'm losing sleep over a lot of things. I've got a 6-month-old as well. She's definitely making me lose sleep.
So actually, this industry is probably
it's a walk in the park, Aaron. Look, we'll work with. This is probably quite controversial. Okay, well, I'm going to go with it anyway.
Yeah, we like controversy.
We work with firms of all sizes. Okay, big and small. And I think as a vendor, what I don't like is seeing people really focused on big firms, because the process to become a listed service of a large accountancy firm or bookkeeping practice is a very cumbersome process you have to go through. And actually, the new innovation shouldn't be just the proviso of big firms. So I think working with smaller firms like we do, I think you're speaking with the business owner. You know, you're speaking with the accountancy owner, the bookkeeper owner, and they make the decision about implementing software quickly, which we love. And I love being able to add value on day one. But with bigger firms, the bureaucracy and the process you have to go through to become a listed vendor it's painful. It's the same with any industry,
100%,
but I think with this sector as well, it's something that is a bit of a bugbear. And actually, I'd like to see more vendors focusing on the smaller firms where you can actually add value really quickly. And I think that's one of the things and
like I say, with those bigger firms, some of them have a whole department on putting them on the trusted list. And you're just constantly having to go through red tape for red tape's sake. And it's, you're absolutely right. And the worst thing is, if those bigger firms could implement it quicker, you'll be able to find updates and you'll be able to innovate and you'll be able to, because at the end of the day, a lot of the times these big firms will request X, Y, Z, and that trickles down, doesn't it? And it comes, and other smaller firms then start getting more benefits out of it. And it's frustrating, isn't it? Because we just want the bigger firms to take on this software and almost improve it for us all.
Yeah, I think there's times are changing a little bit, right? That sort of trickle down effect with large organizations innovating and trickling down, I think is changing because I think smaller firms are looking to compete. They're looking for a unique selling point.
Yeah.
They're looking for new conversations to have with clients and therefore embracing innovation much faster than bigger firms now. And that actually, what I think we're seeing in the reverse, there's some talk about how software is starting to be consolidated, right?
Yeah.
Which I think is a dangerous play, okay? In the retail sector, they went through this journey about 5-7 years ago, and now they've come back out and it's all about microservices and smaller niche products being used collectively. But, every industry goes through that journey. But, consolidating for a big company is a mammoth task. But for smaller businesses that can be more nimble, I think there's a really good way now to innovate and to cut through the noise, and for smaller firms to actually win out on the innovation pace that we're seeing in the sector.
And it's good to see that change, right? And we need that change of pace. So I love that. Okay, think back a year ago. Well, in fact, we don't need to think about a year, right? For you, it's eight months ago, right? If you think back to the start there, you must have gone through lots of changes. You've started this journey, gone through there. If you could go back to that starting point, is there a piece of software, a piece of technology, an app on your phone, device that you've connected to your phone, whatever it's going to be, is there something there that you've now found is a game changer that you can't live without? You wish you could go back to that, you take a time machine, go back and implement it from day one. And a lot of this is all about trying to tell our audience what innovations out there, what new things there, what is it, a software, whatever it's going to be, something that's been a game changer to you. And we're just trying to encourage people to share their best practices out there. So what would you go back and implement from day one?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So we're a software development company, and much like the accounting and bookkeeping sector, there's lots of innovation in software development, not to mention AI helping developers augment their own pace and develop code faster. But actually, what's really been a game changer is Canva.
Yeah.
Canva as a design tool.
Yeah.
For me, being able to present our messaging, create content that's attractive and not being created on Microsoft Paint, I think it's been a real game changer for us. And I wish I'd had that at the start, because we've been faffing around with lots of different tools that are quite old and expensive.
Professional grade.
Yeah, professional grade, which we don't need. I just want to throw things on a screen and get it set up. And it's also, when you're doing events like this, if you don't have a design team and you need to make your stand look professional, having Canva that's been giving you design principles and some great easy layout tools, etc. That for me has been a game changer and applicable to any industry, I think.
What an answer!
So it's been a help.
I'll always remember with Lizzie. Lizzie's our digital marketer, and I was one fighting saying, "No, we're not using Canva. We want Photoshop. What do you want Canva for? Oh, I'm paying all this money for Photoshop. Use that." But you're right. Canva's intuitive. It's easy to use. It's just got the end user in mind, right? It's designed to take away that BS and actually give you a tool that you can actually see real results for. So great answer on that. I love that one. Okay, final question we always ask people is, there's this little word floating around, probably a bit, you've mentioned it a few times, artificial intelligence. Yeah. Do you think, for the accounting industry, do you think this is going to be a tool we should be embracing? Should we be scared of it? Or is it a fad? Or is it going to be a game changer? What's your thoughts on it? Do you think the landscape's going to be completely changed or not? What's your thoughts on it?
I think in general with technology, we overestimate the impact within 12 months and we underestimate the impact in 10 years.
I love that. Okay.
And I think we'll see that with AI. I don't think we'll see the pace of disruption that the industry is talking about and the hype, if you like, in the short term, in the next 12, 18, 24 months. But I think in 10 years' time, we will see huge disruptions in the industry.
Love it.
Because the software is going to get better. We're going to understand how it slots into our ways of working more. And I think that change will come, but it will take longer to fully embed within the sector.
Amazing. Great answer. And you're right. I'm excited for what's happening now, and I'm excited for these little incremental updates. But you're right. In 10 years' time, it's going to be completely different, right? Cool. Brilliant. Well, that camera is yours. Please plug some way. Tell people where to find you, what to follow on. The floor is yours.
Brilliant. Well, thanks, Aaron. So please check us out at maisie.co.uk. All the information about our service is on there, and you can sign up for a free 30-day trial at any point. Also, connect with me on LinkedIn, Oliver Crofton on LinkedIn. I am happy to answer any questions. And check us out for our webinars. We run a fraud webinar every month. So please come and join us. This month, we've got Tamlin Edmonds, who's a very prominent private prosecution lawyer, to talk about one of her cases that she worked on where somebody defrauded their employer of £1.5 million. And joining us on that session is Michael Wood from Translucent to talk about how intercompany accounting can be used and can be a way for people to hide fraud, which relates to the case that we're going to talk about on the webinar. So please join us. It's going to be really insightful, and we'd love to see you.
I love that. Impactful. So if you want to see more videos like this one, you want to see more Pitstop podcasts, you're already in the right place. Oliver, this has been absolutely brilliant. Thank you so much for giving me your time. Thank you for coming on. And thank you for our treats as well. Yeah, absolutely brilliant. Remember, if you want more podcasts like this, you're in the right place. Don't forget, we've got our We Have Cool Friends episodes as well. We're filming them tomorrow, so we're going to have loads of content coming your way. But Oliver, again, thank you so much.
Cheers, Aaron.
See you in the next one.